Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb. Good morning. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I appreciate everyone joining me today for Sandra P's Gen Extra. We have episodes, this is season 6, episode 5. This is a recap opinion on the Salt Lake City, Utah ladies. They are at yet another event. And of course, it wouldn't be an event if they didn't start acting up. It is Whitney's event. And there's something to do with the Soup Man. Now, I don't know details. I'm going to go over it and then try to figure out what they meant. But Lisa Barlow is the one that said something. So I don't even know if trying to figure it out will do any good. But I just want to pull up my notes to make sure I have some backup while I'm looking at it. We start out with Whitney. Whitney is in a confessional and she is singing an original song set to the tune of Oh Susanna. But it is about the ladies. It's about all of the ladies, what they are going through. And she's telling us a little bit about what's coming up in this episode. So I thought that was kind of cute. Whitney and Justin are at home. She's planning for the luncheon. It's with flowers. She's sending a bouquet of flowers to each lady's home as their invitation. So production, of course, goes with her to, they bring the cameras with the person delivering. So they deliver a bouquet to Lisa Barlow. She's glad to get it, but she said, "Oh, who is this from? Is this a proposal?" The man was like, I don't know. She said, "Oh, so it's not from you." And then she looks at it. She read the card, but she said, XOXO, scribble, scribble. I can't read who it's from. They deliver next to Angie K. Angie K reads the card as well, but she can tell by Whitney's signature that it is from Whitney. Bronwyn walks up to her house from the outside, returning from somewhere. The bouquet of flowers were delivered and left on the doorstep. She is excited. This is a beautiful bouquet. So all the ladies have received their flowers. That was a really nice idea. I don't think they showed Mary's delivery. Whitney gets to the place early as she is the host. She meets with the lady. Welcome in, Cece. Thank you so much. Cece is one of the moderators, and I appreciate you so much. So the ladies arrive as the host meets Whitney first because it's her event. The ladies arrive separately, of course. Mary comes in. She says, "I don't know why Whitney booked this place." She said the owner killed himself and his wife on Christmas Day and in front of the dog. The dog was not normal after that happened. And then Mary looks in the confessional and that's what she says, like, "Yep, that's what happened." So leave it to Mary to have some kind of crazy story. Lisa Barlow gets out of the car. She must have some type clothing line that features pajamas. It looks like fancy pajamas. They look very comfortable, but they also look very stylish. I don't know if everybody could pull it off, but Lisa does. She shows up with the same look that she had on as far as the pajamas look when she met Bronwyn last week. She tells the driver, "Park close, keep it running." I hate that she has to show up with so much anxiety to each event. So she doesn't think it's going to go well. She's already saying, "Angie, talk low about my kids, but I want to be here to support Whitney." So Bronwyn comes in dressed with a flower. I thought it was a coat dress, but it turns out to be a coat because I saw the shell dress that she had on underneath later when she met with the into it. So she comes in, everybody hems and haws and oohs and ahs over her dress. Bronwyn is always going to have something that makes her center of attention as a fashion plate. Heather, I think, had already arrived. She looked cute. She had on just a little short, regular dress that was some type flower theme. After Bronwyn came in, immediately following her is Meredith. Meredith is wearing a denim dress with all these denim flowers kind of sewed into it. When she came in, Whitney said, "I can't with these crazy bees." Mary Cosby started laughing. It looked like growths or something on it. Mary says it looks like she said it looks like a germ emoji. And then Mary said that she looks like a walking virus. And she was just laughing. So Whitney starts reading off to the ladies. She's reading off her phone, inviting them to the event, why she had this event, what the purpose of it is. She used to be fun-loving Whitney with all of her tattoos and her piercings and being able to swing on a pole. But then Justin lost his job. I don't know what position Justin was in. Was he with the church also? He lost his career or his job due to that. And so she felt like she had to change her image, become a CEO type image, especially when she had her company, Whitney Rose. She said, but I lost everything anyway. So I'm getting back to fun loving Whitney. And they congratulate her. Oh, Whitney, that's so nice. Okay, Whitney. Aw. She said, and I have a surprise. Also, I'm going to have an intuitive reader. So this is someone that reads, Bronwyn called it, tarot. She didn't know how to pronounce it. It's tarot. The T at the end is silent. So tarot cards, Bronwyn. But she's excited about it. She tells us all these different alternative things she has tried. Heather's very excited. Meredith, I don't think we got a lot of reaction out of Meredith. Angie she's game. She's willing. Mary Cosby says, in my Bible, they call them soothsayers. She said, sometimes the devil speaks to them and I'm going to pass. They know Mary is a pastor. She's not going to do all that. And I don't blame Mary. I would do it, but I wouldn't expect a friend that's a pastor to do that. So the wine specialist shows up. She has some Utah wines. Meredith said she didn't even know Utah had wines. So the next thing, y'all need to support a Utah winery. I didn't know that either. I guess anywhere that can grow grapes, they can have a winery. They have wine in North Carolina, and that's becoming a big thing. Also, a lot of beer places as well. Whitney she is pouring the wine specialist. Whitney tells them, put a little bit of food in your mouth while you're tasting. I have never heard, I've been to a wine tasting. That is not what they tell you to do. You are focusing on the wine. But the specialist, I found it interesting. She didn't correct Whitney. So somebody was like, I'm going to take it with a little cheese. Mary asked if the salmon is tartare. The lady said, yeah, it is. I don't know. Because Heather ate it and she said, it was smoked, Mary. You can eat it. Because Mary said, I don't eat anything tartare because that means it's raw. It goes in your body. It grows baby salmons and they just hang out in your body. So Mary has paranoia about quite a bit of things. It's kind of funny. Angie announces, I'm not going to be Mary and Bronwyn's neighbor anymore. My house is for sale. I'm looking for a larger place where we can have horses and all this kind of stuff. And then Brittany says, well, I'm an agent. She said, your house is listed now. I'm an agent. She pulls up Angie K's house and she starts looking. Oh, it's been on the market for 200 days. Price reduction? That's not good. So Angie K starts to get offended. Excuse me. She said, you don't know anything about what's going on with my house. And Brittany said, I'm a realtor. That's my profession. Don't insult my profession. Angie K says, I'm not insulting your profession, but you don't know anything about this zip code, this area. Angie K, now she's licensed in Utah. Yes, she does know her surrounding areas. Brittany starts telling her that price reduction is not good. True. It's on the market 200 days. Not great. So I had to agree with Brittany on this, and I don't agree with Brittany on much. Angie K is saying it's one of the richest zip codes in the state. I don't know, their immediate area. They start arguing over which zip codes are the richest zip codes. Lisa Barlow's seem to know a bunch of zip codes and the richest ones. Maybe they researched that information because they have businesses in the area. I don't know. But I can't rattle off the most prominent zip codes in my area. I know my zip code. I know zip codes of places where I do business, but I couldn't really do that. So Angie's arguing, it's listed with one of the kids' godmothers, they're lifelong friends. Brittany just gets off that train. They stop talking about it. We find out Brittany is back with Jared because Jared is calling her. Jared Osmond, you are very thirsty. I think you're thirsty for these cameras more so than Brittany, but we will see as the season goes on what Jared is here for. Whitney said, he just came over to see my husband. He just came over and talked to Justin. We find out Jared had told Justin that, oh, I feel like the only time Brittany wants me is if she's ready to take a vacation or she wants me to buy her a gift. Whitney wants to know from Brittany if that is true. Brittany's like, that's offensive. No, that's not true. He's taking me to Vegas. Heather said, Vegas is a road trip. I have to agree with you, Heather. So Whitney said, is he paying any bills right now? She said, no, he's not paying any bills. And then y'all listen to what Brittany thought was offensive about what Jared said to Justin. She said, I even am in a strange place in a relationship with my daughters because of me trying to still have a relationship with him. That is your fault as a mother, Brittany. That's not Jared's fault. Don't expect men to care more about your kids than you do. And we find out that she and Whitney had talked. Remember, Whitney actually looked in her face and told her, take 30 days away and spend this time with your children. She asked this woman, how long has it been since she talked to Jared? 24 hours. Whitney, stop wasting your breath on Whitney. It's just going to come to a pass with her and her daughters. She has a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old daughters. And they've asked her, Mom, we need you right now. Jared's not good for you. She can't do it. So just stop begging her, y'all. All the ladies are like, a flower bouquet blows down while they're arguing. And Mary Cosby said, this is a sign. I think it is, because somebody put it back up. They start talking this foolishness, and it blew down again. Terrence, the intuitive, takes Brittany in first. She sits right down, and he knows what's going on between the two daughters. He said, there is something in your family where someone is not getting along. What's going on with that? Brittany has to disclose to him about the daughters. Meredith, meanwhile, the ladies are back at the table. They're still, this is what I like. Whitney had the food out in advance. I saw little sliders and stuff. They had delivered the salmon. There's a cheese plate with the wine instead of just them drinking, getting filled up with drink and then arguing with each other. So this lasts a lot. I mean, this is a lot better. They still end up arguing, but it's a lot better. Welcome, Kiwan J. Good to see you. Good morning, Sandra in chat. Kiwan J is over there reviewing a bunch of stuff as well. I believe including this, and then in addition to that, shows. A lot of time I don't have time to watch the shows. I'll watch the reviews. So I'm not caught up with Reasonable Doubt. That's one of the one Kiwan J reviews. So just as an aside, if you're not already subscribed, like and subscribe to myself, click on Kiwan J, go over there and like and subscribe. CC speaking. And welcome in, T. Lee. Good morning. 2 days in a row. Yes, ma'am. Usually you're in the bushes or you're busy, but I appreciate you taking time to come in here. Thank you so much. Anytime, P1J, anytime. Okay, so they are starting to get revved up a little bit at this table, but there's food on the table, so I compliment Whitney Rose for that. Meredith wants to believe, she's telling us, I want to believe that since Lisa and I are in a good place, she wasn't talking about me. And then Meredith turns to Lisa. They're all eating. Everything's going fine. Who's getting their reading? I just sent somebody in for their reading. Brittany's getting her reading. Meredith says to Lisa, were you talking about me in a negative way or doing further research about me? Lisa looked at her with a straight face and said, no, I've been working on improving our friendship. Lisa, you lying. Lisa is a trip, y'all. I don't care for Lisa Barlow, but she is so delusional. I have to stand back and kind of in awe of her. She said, no, I believed her and I know she's lying. So Bronwyn gets up next. She's going to meet Terrence. And as she's going to meet Terrence, she takes off that big flower coat. She has a little shell of a dress underneath it, which is pretty. It's like a one of those little, I guess they call it a sheath or something like that. I guess it had to be tiny for that big flower coat to cover it. So Confessional Bronwyn says she's been in a place she doesn't know what's going on with her dad and mom. Terrence tells Bronwyn, you may not know it, but your mother is your biggest supporter. I don't know. I don't know about this guy. I mean, he's accurate in a lot of things, but what we've seen of the mother, I didn't see that. But this is what he's telling her. He says the mother may not show it, but that's the way she shows love. He said, and there's something else going on with her. And Bronwyn said, yeah, we have a health issue with her. The health issue she mentioned that Muzzy has, is not the one that the intuit is seeing, y'all. So Muzzy, stop being so mean. Speak from your heart. Let your daughter know you love her because we don't know what's going on with you. So Bronwyn is now getting pretty upset that there's something else going on with the mother. Angie and Lisa are back at the table. They're starting to get into it again. Excuse me. Angie says, let me read you a nice text that Lisa sent to me. She reads the rest of the ladies that didn't have benefit of this text. I think Meredith has already heard about it, and she might be the only one, maybe Heather. Confessional Lisa says, I was sent proof that Angie used somebody else's credit card to go to Europe and had to pay it back. So that's what that's one of the things that the text was about. Angie, for some reason, stands up. Angie, sit your little self down. Y'all are you're just talking. You're right across the table from Lisa. So Angie K is bad about this. She stood up. You want to know about my credit cards and whether or not I had to use somebody else's credit card? This is my credit card. It's a black card, y'all. She literally threw her card down on the table. Here's another second credit card in my name for my business. Boom. She threw down another credit card. It looked black too, y'all. She threw another credit card down. Brittany was funny. She was picking it up, looking at it. Heather picked it up too. We could see the thirsty ones. Heather said, "Oh, I've never seen a real black card. I think I've seen one once." She's looking at the black card. Brittany saying, "Can I spend this?" Heather is in a confessional talking about, don't let Brittany keep that card, because if she gets access to another card, she might not call Jared again. And then she says, "Too bad." They always making fun of Brittany, but it's warranted. Brittany's a mess. Angie picks up, it looks like one of the slap bracelets, but it is black. She said, "This is my black MX Prada bracelet that swipes." You win, Angie. I've never seen or heard of that in my life. Meredith was looking at that. And Meredith comes from money. So I know she's going to be calling Amex, if she doesn't already have it, to get one. A Prada bracelet that wraps around your wrist and it swipes. This is just, my sister gave me this. This is my late mother and father. It's a picture of them. It's a talisman. I look at it as a talisman. If I want them to go somewhere with me, I'll put it on. But you won. You won today, Angie K. You shouldn't be standing up arguing. You shouldn't be this upset. Y'all were just talking. But this black Prada bracelet that swipes, MX, come on. Mary is telling her, "Stop throwing the cards on the table. Stop throwing all this stuff on the floor." So Heather says, "This is the first." Oh, she already said, first time she's seen a black card. Angie K still yelling about Lisa. "All you do is make stuff up about people." Lisa's saying, "No, this is true. This is true." And Angie K saying that Lisa does all this research. This is the same argument these ladies have had since the beginning of the season. We're in what, episode 5? I need these ladies to start arguing about something else. Angie is still standing, and she said, "Shut up before I pull your face tighter, pull your ears back tighter than that facelift that you got." So the ladies are like, I think that's a bridge too far. Because Lisa immediately, her face kind of fell a little bit, like her feelings are really hurt. Lisa stays seated. Congratulations, Lisa. And she says, "Oh, you're jealous of my face now? You're jealous of my face now? I haven't had a facelift. I haven't had a facelift." Angie K tells Lisa, "You look like you've been standing in a wind tunnel." She said, "You want to go dark?" Here's Lisa. I knew she was going to go crazy. "You want to go dark? You want to stand up, shorty?" And Angie's like, I'm taller than you." She said, "You're not taller than me. What, 3 inches? I don't know who's taller than who. Both of y'all are petite, and I don't know why either one of you are standing at this winery." Angie K sits down. Whitney demands respect for my event, which is true, y'all. This is so, I'm not going to call, what did Mary Cosby say? Don't get ghetto. I'm not going to call them that. But what, I don't know why they do this. Bronwyn is looking around. She's silently crying, y'all. And the two are still going at each other. Meredith is looking across the table at Bronwyn. She said, "What's wrong?" Bronwyn is crying. And then Meredith said, "Stop it. Your friend is crying." And then Lisa said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Angie apologized. "I'm sorry." Bronwyn is telling Meredith, "I don't know what's going to go on with my parents. They're both having all these health issues. All these two do is fight. Everybody's going low about each other's kid." Heather, Mary agree they shouldn't go low about the kids. Lisa, I think, was the first one to start up again. "Everything was fine. We weren't going low." And then she brought up my kid's business. Remember when she brought up the wolf business? That's what started the request for the return of the product, her sending money, and then they start talking about credit cards. So somehow Lisa was saying, pick up the cards. And then Angie K said, "What you going to do? You're going to go shop at Nordstrom's?" She said, "I don't shop at Nordstrom's, B." I thought Nordstrom's is supposed to be top of the line. Y'all making fun of Nordstrom's now? And then Lisa, I don't know what this means yet. She said, "Yeah, what about the Soup Man, B? What about the Soup Man?" Angie gets up and got upset, and she stormed away from the table. Whitney went after her. So are we going to be hearing more about this Soup Man? I don't know what's going on. Confessional Meredith said, "I don't know about the Soup Man. There was a Seinfeld episode." She's talking about the Soup Nazi episode, where the guy wouldn't serve you unless you had your ducks in a row and you knew your order and you wanted bread or no bread and your utensil. You had to have everything right or he wouldn't serve you. And the soup was so good that people put up with it. So it was a running joke on Seinfeld. Allegedly, it was based on a real New York business. I don't know. So production asked Lisa, "Who's the Soup Man?" Lisa's in the confessional with that red dress on. She said with a straight face, "That's a question for Terrence." Terrence is the intuit that's reading everybody. So why did you bring it up, Lisa, if you can't tell us what it's about? She's crazy. This lady is crazy, but she can be hilarious. So meanwhile, Mary's picking up the cards. Angie K had walked away with Whitney, and then she said, Mary, bring my cards over here. I want to show proof of something else. Angie K, no, you don't throw all that stuff down and then expect Mary to bring you the cards. She said, I want to show I've had these cards in my name since 2003, and in there in my name and my husband's name and my business name. So Whitney's trying to keep everything calm. And then she said, Lisa comes over there, y'all. She said, stop talking about me behind my back. So she came over there to where Whitney and Angie K were. And she said, Whitney got a chance to tell him, okay, so you believe that she used someone else's card for vacation. And then you believe that she is allowing another man to pay her expenses on a credit card bill. Lisa said that Angie K is lying. Angie K said that Lisa is lying. Lisa's saying that someone proved to me that you went to Greece on somebody else's credit card. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know. So Heather is in there with Terrence. He asked her if her love life is working out. She starts kind of laughing, crying. Heather's a little bit crazy, y'all. He tells her she's getting her power back. Some other things about herself. Heather comes back and they said, well, what was your reading like? She said, oh, he told me I'm the best one at this table, the most successful. One day, all of you ladies are going to be working for me. So they're all laughing. And Bronwyn said, no, I think you got the readings mixed up. That was my reading. So thankfully, they're able to, after all this with Angie K and Lisa, they're still able to kind of smooth things over. This is why I like these ladies. They can still sit and eat together, even though it's kind of crazy. I'll read a couple of comments. Here's just one from Cece. These ladies are brutal. You can tell they've never been checked in their younger days. Yeah, the way they go so low so quickly. And then, ironically, this is one of the franchises where they are still able to get back together. Talked about the mother, talked about kids, all kind of stuff. It's going to come up again about the gout deed, but there was an apology. There was an apology issued for that. So the next person to go in, Lisa actually had to be led away from the table and escorted into Terrence, by Whitney, because it's her event and because Lisa was still kind of going back and forth. She comes in, sits back down, and she's immediately calm. So this lady, she got something else going on. Different person. No, I won't say different personalities, but Lisa Barlow, she's something else. She was on 10 like 2 minutes ago, and now she is calm. Nice to meet you, Terrence. I'm looking forward to this. Wow. Hi. And Terrence says, I feel like you're rebuilding. Why do I feel like this? Lisa immediately starts crying. He said, who's the water sign? A Pisces, a Scorpio? She said, it's a Pisces. It's my husband. It's John. He said, that is your best friend. You're not on the same team. So she's still crying. This is the first we hear that there's anything going on between her and John, other than Angie K yelling out that there's some other man paying for stuff, which Lisa's denying. She's saying it's their business partners, but we know that there's now something going on. Production's putting in all these scenes of where she and John are having a different idea of how things should go. She didn't think their son should move out at all. He agreed with the son moving out to do his mission. So there were a few other things that she said yes and he said no. So they were trying to get back on the same page. And we don't know if the accusations about this other man factored in or not, because Angie K brought this up at the last reunion. And that might be one of the reasons that these ladies fell out. But Angie K might have done that because Lisa was doing research on everybody. Not to excuse anybody, but nothing happens out of the blue. They all do stuff to each other. Like Cece said, they're brutal. And they've not been checked in their younger days, I can tell. So Terrence said, you are on different paths and you just need to find each other to get back to the same path. So confessional, Lisa, she's not in the red dress now. She has this cute, it looks like it would be like a gray business suit, but it's strapless. Lisa looks really good. She says, I'm going to get emotional here, so I need to stop. I'm not getting emotional today. And then she just turns off her emotion. So Terrence is still telling her that they need to get back on the same team and that she's going to feel lost until they're back on the same team. So Heather and Mary are at the table, of course, with the other ladies. They're still talking about Lisa pulling up information on people and that Angie K didn't care about it when she was friends with Lisa. She'd sit there and ear hustle. She would listen to all that stuff Lisa was saying about other people. Angie saying, that's not true. No, that's not true. Angie K, that is true. So Heather and Mary are still confronting her with this. She's denying it. Mary is talking. Angie starts trying to speak over her. And Mary says, no, I'm talking. I'm going to state my case and say what I want to say. Angie is finally quieted. I don't know why she feels like she can be the only one talking. And usually if it's Lisa there, she's the only one talking, or they're talking at each other. But I agree with Mary. I want to hear more from all of the other ladies. This is too much. So the next person that has a turn, Angie K gets up from the table. It's her turn to meet with Terrence. And he says, I see with your business, there's some type product. We get confessional, Angie K saying, nobody knows about that. He says, stick with it because it could really be lucrative. It could really blow up for you. Confessional, Angie said, the only one that knows about that are Sean, Electra, and my father and the designers in Italy. So we find out that the product is going to be shades. She does always have on nice shades. He says, well, I think June or July, is that a travel month for you? She said, yeah. I think Electra rides horses. He said, I see some type injury, not to her, but to the animal. So that was kind of ominous. So he tells her to be careful because of that. And so next she goes back out. Meredith goes in for her reading. Terrence is talking about you might have a friend that is not really your friend. I don't think he called her a snake, but he might have called her a snake, maybe a snake in the grass, something that she needs to remove from her circle. Meredith is listening intently. Y'all, Angie comes into the room. This is the first time this happened. She interrupts the intuit and the person he's reading, which is Meredith, to retrieve a box. When she arrived, I forgot to mention, she brought a box in with some items. So while Terrence is saying there's a friend that's not quite a friend, removed from your circle, here comes Angie. And she excuses herself, but this is a private reading, so it was very, it was kind of ominous. I hope that Angie's not the friend that Meredith is losing. I hope none of them lose each other. But that may just be something production did. But Angie K did interrupt the reading. So Angie K goes back to the table. She puts the box on the table. And Mary says, where did you get this Tupperware thing? Who even has Tupperware anymore? Because it is a big rubber box with a lid. So it is gifts that Angie is returning to Lisa. Now, this is just petty. I could see Lisa asking for the product back since Angie complained about the product. It was taking up space in the salon, even though we find out she'd moved it downstairs to a storage room 2 years ago. And that's how dusty salon, dusty product, all this stuff came up. So Mary is still, she's talking with Lisa. Whitney now is in with Terrence. Lisa saying Angie is jealous of her, I think, is it Kerastasi? Are you jealous of my Kerastasi deal? The hair deal. Angie's saying, I'm not jealous of you in that deal, the non-existent deal. You had no deal. So Angie K, did you research that? I don't know. She might have a deal. She has a deal with Wendy's, because I noticed Angie K made like a slick remark about Lisa liking Wendy's fries, and Wendy's, actual Wendy's, the company, was up under that post. So Terrence is telling Whitney, figure out what you need to do to have the life that you want to have. I think he and Whitney were discussing her business, and he was saying, figure out what you actually want to move from your life, but don't remove the wrong thing. Because remember, Whitney was in the process of folding up, unwinding Whitney Rose. He told her, create a distance, stay away from chaos. Meanwhile, the ladies are outside. There's more chaos stirring up. Angie's crying to the group. I'm sick of just sitting here and having to eat it when Lisa gets to say whatever she wants. She gets to do whatever she wants, and everybody just expects me to kiss the ring. Now, I don't know if this because Lisa has been kind of like in charge of the girls. I think they're scared of her because she is the most brutal and her mouth is the most vicious. But Angie may be feeling like I'm center snowflake. I started out as friend of, and now I'm in the middle. I want to be the one in charge. I don't know. I don't know where this feeling is coming from. Angie starts throwing stuff out of the gift box. And then what about this? And then what about that? There is a little toy horse that is in there. She threw the replica horse and the leg broke off. Mary said, oh, she said, you should stop throwing stuff. She said, but you did break a leg. The horse did break a leg. So he was right. He's very good, but it was the wrong animal. I'm glad it was just the replica horse, y'all. When a horse gets an injury, I can't take it. Like when they fall at the Kentucky Derby or something, I can't take it. So Confessional Mary is telling us she doesn't like that chaotic energy. She doesn't want to be around it. I see why Mary Cosby is, she tries to stay zen because these ladies are crazy. Angie is still flailing. She's not throwing things, but she's still tossing this on the table, that on the table from the box. And Angie, I don't know what's going on with her. Bronwyn and Heather are saying everybody goes through the same thing with Lisa. Angie is just taking it more to heart. And then we found out earlier that Heather and Mary believed that Angie was okay with how Lisa conducted herself when other people were the victim. Now that it's targeted at her, she can't take it. And that might be true. So Angie's telling Lisa, I'm not afraid of you, Lisa. Lisa's like, I don't want you to be afraid of me. And Brittany says, Jared has called me 4 times and he's texted 6 times. So I don't think she's going to drop this man. Again, I advise these women to don't advise her anything more about this fool. I don't like him for her, but if she likes it, I guess we have to love it. I wouldn't keep advising her. I just hate that it's impacting the relationship between her daughters. They really need her at 19 and 23. You still really need your mother if you're blessed enough to still have her. So that's the end of that episode. Lisa storms out. While she's storming out, she is yelling something. She's yelling back at Angie K. Oh, learn how to apologize. Whitney's escorting her out because Lisa's had enough and she's leaving. We get a preview. Heather is hosting a trip. Y'all know Captain Jason. I think he is one of the below deck captains, but I always get the names wrong. It is one of the Mediterranean or something else. He's good looking too. He has a super yacht chartered by Heather. So this is going to be amazing. It's going to be couples, all the ladies. Of course, we know that the yachts are big enough to fit all these people. In the preview, we also see Mary is saying that, Angie, you're supposed to be my sister. Oh, okay. I left out a whole scene, y'all. While they were doing all this back and forth arguing, and Mary was telling Angie that you're okay with what Lisa does when Lisa's doing it to somebody else, and Angie denying it. Angie kind of got in Mary's face. This was before the confessional where Mary said, I don't like all that chaotic energy. And she ended up saying, I'm done with you, Angie. I'm done with you. And Angie K said, bye, Mary Cosby. So Angie was just on one. And I think she kind of ruined Whitney's event, and she shouldn't have done that. It still looked nice. I liked that the food was there. I liked the different wines. I even liked Terrence. I would have a reading done if somebody like Terrence were around. So Mary is in a preview with Angie saying, you're supposed to be my sister. Angie says, I am your sister. And Mary Cosby is telling her, no, you're not. You better find another one, Kay. So this is going to be good. This is going to be pretty good. Good episode. I'm going to give it a 10 because, again, we had an event. All of the ladies attended the event. All of the ladies got some type of verbal either reaction or started something, finished something. I thought Terrence was a nice touch. I like that. And of course, every time they come in back from commercial or they do a preview or something, the Utah scenery is so beautiful. It's one of the prettiest franchises to me as far as when they showcase the homes, the views, the ladies' clothing. I think they're all very well dressed. Meredith was a miss in this episode. I'm with Mary. The dress did look like a walking virus. I have to laugh about that. Bronwyn, I don't know. I'm not into couture and all that stuff, but the flowers were pretty on her coat, and everybody else even looked good. So this is a good episode. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10 just because they are consistent, and I'm looking forward to this trip that's coming up too. So everybody, please like the video. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you to everyone that came in during the live. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you in these YouTube streets. Bye, everybody.